Day one of League One, 44-0, not the scoreline we hoped or expected. What are your immediate thoughts 15 minutes after the game?
Not good enough. I think I speak for all of us. We're quite embarrassed about that. The effort was lacking. The attention to detail. We just got outplayed by a team that wanted it more. We didn't execute anything. Well, not anything, but we lacked execution in a lot of the detail that we practice all during the week. But it comes down to desire. It comes down to effort, and that was lacking. We just got outplayed in every aspect, and that's just not what we trained for.
You had a disruptive morning with the team. Billy Walker pulled out late last night. What was the score with that?
Yeah, Billy has been sick. He had a bug, couldn't overcome that, so we had to make late change. But the boys trained there during the week. They knew what was required, and it was it was business as usual. But obviously it wasn't.
Does a disruptive morning of a game affect a result like that?
It's hard to say, isn't it? It's not ideal preparation, but the boys, it doesn't stop boys from making tackles or carrying the ball hard or making errors. So the boys need to take a good long hard look at themselves, put some effort into the game to see where they're making the errors. I think the first 3 tries the first 2 were definitely individual errors, just out of system, and it's just not us. It's hard to say at the moment, but it's just not what we train for.
And there'll be some questions raised about the game plan. The rugby's a simple game. You kick to a corner, you try and make them work out of the corner. The game plan doesn't change much each week. Is that right?
That's correct. The game plan is no good unless you run hard and tackle hard. And that's what we've been drilling into the boys, and it doesn't seem to be sinking in. It's early days, but we can't be chasing our tail come the back end of the year. So there's going to be some half truths spoke this week. Boys are going to need to look at themselves, not just the ones that played. There's a squad here, and it's a squad that's going to be required to be competitive this year. So we'll go back to training on Tuesday. We'll dive into this video. We'll talk about it and we'll move on. The best thing about rugby league is you've got 7 days till you go again, but we will be working hard as we have been through the whole of pre-season.
Are there any individuals that stood out to you today? I thought myself, Harry Bowes was outstanding, led the line, give you a full 80 minutes as well. The Warrington boys, Charlie McClure, Ewan Smith, Lucas Green, all put a shift in as well for you. Was there anyone else that stood out?
Yeah, well, you said Bowes. I asked Bowes on during the week that I'm probably going to need you for 80, and he just relished that. When he turned up today, from the first minute to the 80th minute. The Warrington boys, they've got good habits. You can see that. Scully put a good shift in. I thought he was strong. Hatton when he was on, but there's just too many individuals that were off. Too many individual errors, and we can't expect to be in a game when we can't hold the ball, because at the moment we just don't seem like we're tough enough to defend.
Are you worried that that's a pattern that's starting to form?
Yeah, I am. Totally honest, I am. Yeah. We can train it out of them, but unless they buy into it, or unless they take some time in their own game and realise that it's not good enough, then it's going to be a long old year. What
resource can you give them to help them figure out how to improve the game? Video
is one of the best, so we'll give them ample video, but they need to want to buy into it. I understand that it's part-time rugby, but we've signed a lot of these players with this ambition, the same ambition that the club's got, same ambition I've got, and I will leave no stone unturned, and to the point where I'm even training to show them the standard that I'm expecting, and I'll continue to do so. and that's the way we need to be heading, the direction we need to be heading. We need to get back to working hard, and I don't know why it's not there.
You see it in training, you see the effort, the desire, the energy they put into training. In your career, have you ever seen anything similar to this where it gets to a game day and it sort of falls a little bit, drops, the standards drop?
I don't like talking about me in my day, different time, but no. But we've got some good people behind the scenes that we will sort it. The boys have got a lot of pride in themselves. I know it doesn't seem like it today. I've questioned them. To me, it looked like they rolled over. That's not what I've instilled in them. That's not what the boys have instilled in themselves. But obviously, the picture there shows something different. I apologise to the fans that they come out here week in, week out. But just know that we will be doing everything we can to rectify it. The boys are embarrassed, and the best thing is, I said it before, we can go again. It's 7 days.
Yeah, 7 days indeed. Back to 1895 Cup action. It don't get any easier for the Ston Rovers away.
No.
Your plans, your thoughts?
Everyone's up for selection. There's going to be some changes for sure, but there's also going to be some boys that need some more minutes. I've still without Mark, Brad England, and Brownie. They're a massive part of and key to how we play and the standard that we set. But it's still no excuse. I'm not making any excuses. That just wasn't good enough today. But we will, lick our wounds and be ready to go.
Brilliant. Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you.